Good morning and welcome to the handover ceremony from the government and people of Taiwan to two agencies in St. Lucia, the Royal St. Lucia Police Force, and to the Customs and Excise Department of St. Lucia. We also have a third presentation today, so it's a very busy day, a great news day for us all. We have $1 million being allocated to the Distress Fund, and I know that is something very significant for this administration. So again, we welcome and thank the government and people of Taiwan. I would now like to call on His Excellency Peter Chen to deliver some remarks. Ambassador.
On behalf of the government and the people of the Republic of China, Taiwan, it is my great pleasure today to express Taiwan's support for Prime Minister Honorable Philip Jepier and his government's dedication in social security and citizen safety by delivering the funding for the Distress Support Fund as well as the police use equipment. As Honorable Prime Minister Philip Jepier addressed in CARICOM Regional Symposium, under the theme, Violence as a Public Health Issue, St. Lucia government takes a holistic approach that includes government and society in formulating the public security strategy. The Distress Support Fund and the police equipment presented today has not only highlighted the importance of this approach, but also timely demonstrated the determination of St. Lucia government in the issue of citizens' safety. As we all live in a world seriously affected by climate change, natural disasters, and global economic turbulence, Distress Support Fund is much more needed and critical than ever before. Also, public security requires huge investment in terms of equipment and training of frontline personnel. As we acknowledge the police plays a critical role in maintaining order and ensuring public safety, we also have to recognize the hardware and capability they equipped should be equally important. Therefore, Taiwan is very proud to be part of these two projects, and Taiwan will continue to cooperate with Honorable Prime Minister and the government of St. Lucia to meet every challenge and set our countries on a path toward a brighter future. Thank you.
Thank you, Ambassador, for these words. And I reflect and remember when Prime Minister went to Taiwan and made his first appeal for the assistance for the Royal St. Lucia Police Force. And here we are today, receiving these much-needed equipment. And again, Prime Minister, thank you for always, representing for the people of St. Lucia. I would now like to welcome the Acting Customs Controller, Mr. Shimon Emmanuel, to deliver remarks, because they will be receiving 2 scanners from the government and people of Taiwan. Mr. Emmanuel.
On behalf of the St. Lucia Customs and Excise Department, allow me to join the Prime Minister and as well as the Cabinet of Ministers in thanking the Republic of China and Taiwan for donating this X-ray equipment, which will undoubtedly help support our department in fulfilling our border security mandate. One of the most significant threats facing our country and our region is the increase in firearm-related crime. The destabilizing effects of illegal firearms and narcotics on national security and citizen safety cannot be overstated. There is a clear connection between illicit inflows of small arms and light weapons and narcotics and incidents of violent crime involving firearms. Combating this threat is therefore a priority. In the last 3 years, our department has intercepted several illegal firearms, firearm parts, and ammunition crossing our borders. Most of our detections and interceptions were due solely to the diligence of our hard-working officers at the border. More recently, we registered some successes using non-intrusive methods like metal detectors and X-ray equipment. Your gracious donation is timely and much appreciated and is anticipated to be of great help and value to our officers who have a considerable and challenging responsibility to protect our borders. I must also thank our Prime Minister for being receptive to our department's expressed needs, as well as for his efforts in securing this donation. In an era of considerable advances in technology, as well as increased sophistication in the methods of trafficking, deploying non-intrusive inspection technology in the law enforcement and border control arena is a logical step and also an efficient strategy to help tackle these threats to national security and citizen safety. In the past year, our department pursued every available firearm detection course, aiming to improve our detection rates. More recently, we benefited from some training in firearm detection, in particular in using X-ray equipment. So this donated X-ray equipment is combined with the training that our officers have already received, as well as future training that we will receive, will go a long way in supporting our efforts. Once again, thank you to the Republic of China and Taiwan for donating this invaluable equipment. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Emmanuel, for your remarks. I would now like to call on Mr. Ronald Phillip, Acting Commissioner of Police, to deliver remarks.
I bring you warm greetings from the rank and file of the Royal St. Lucia Police Force. It is an honor and privilege to join you on this occasion of the handover of equipment to the Royal St. Lucia Police Force and by extension the government of St. Lucia by the Embassy of the Republic of China on Taiwan. On behalf of the leadership of the Royal St. Lucia Police Force, I wish to express our sincere gratitude to the government of Republic of China and Taiwan for this gesture of fraternal solidarity. This donation could not have been timelier. The organization has realized the role of technology in law enforcement and as such have partnered with various stakeholders and governmental agencies to embark on several initiatives to include the introduction of modern-day practices during service delivery to the people of St. Lucia. Policing is challenging, but allocating the right resources will ensure that officers remain steadfast in their commitment to protect and serve. The implementation of body-worn or vehicle-mounted audio or video systems by the Royal St. Lucia Police Force has been long overdue. We are of the astute belief that this initiative will assist in bolstering public perception and building up its public image. The inclusion of those tools in our policing strategy will encourage ethical behaviors by both police officers and members of the community. This inclusion of this technology in policing will provide an additional layer of protection for both members of the public and the police. It will also provide a level of accountability and transparency, which in turn will foster greater cooperation with the public that we serve. Additionally, the cameras will document commendable, heroic, and ethical police behaviors, and it is expected to increase the level of professionalism and efficiency of officers during the execution of their duties. The organization is indeed thankful to the government of Republic of China and Taiwan for this major contribution towards a more modern Royal St. Lucia Police Force. We are also thankful to the government of St. Lucia for the level of investment that has been made to the Royal St. Lucia Police Force at this time. I assure you that we will make great use of this donation as we continue to improve on citizen safety and security. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Phillip, for your remarks on behalf of the police force. And I dare say that this Prime Minister has taken a special interest in the Royal St. Lucia Police Force. Every month, I believe Prime Minister dedicates time and resources to the police force, and I know we all have heard ad nauseum about his father being a policeman. So let's see if we'll get that story today again. Honorable Prime Minister, please.
Thank you very much. Monday, indeed, yes, my father was a policeman.
I thought you disappointed.
How can I disappoint you? First of all, I want to thank the ambassador for allowing me to get some time, which was pretty off the record, to speak in Taiwan and ask for that support. And I saw the ambassador, wanting to go into the ground because he was thinking, what's happening to me? But we did it, and the rest is history. So I want to thank him for doing that. I want also to state my complete confidence in the law enforcement agencies in St. Lucia, both the police and the customs. I want to say that I have full confidence in the leadership and the men and women of the police and the customs. Like in all institutions, there are going to be some people who are going to deviate. Your job is to find these people and do not allow them to spoil the good name of your organization. That is the most important thing. As in all things in life, climbing to the top, you have a lot of problems climbing to the top. There can only be one prime minister. There can only be one commissioner of police. There can only be one comptroller of customs. There can only be one permanent secretary. There can only be one. There are never two in anything. What is important is we have to stay focused on the cause. And the focus for us now is to try to stop or at least limit the level of crime in St. Lucia and improve citizen security. That is the focus. And this government is going to remain focused on achieving that goal. Everything else will have to fall in line. But the focus, we must not get diverted from the cause. We must not get diverted from the focus. We must not get ourselves going off what the objective. And it looks like sometimes in St. Lucia, there are some people who seem to always want to find something negative for their own reasons. They always want to seem to be gloating. Sometimes when I listen and I hear the way people express, almost with glee, when there is a murder, almost with glee, when is the next murder? This doesn't augur well for the country. It may have the short-term benefit of making the Prime Minister look bad. It may have the short-term benefit of making the government look bad. It may even have the short-term benefit of causing the government to change. But the crime situation in St. Lucia has persisted, and it did not happen on the 26th of July, 2021. It happened a long time ago. And what we have to do now is we have to put our shoulders to the wheel and try to rid St. Lucia of the criminals who are causing us harm and distress. So it makes no sense in being gleeful or in trying to cause confusion or in trying to destabilize the process by which we try to combat and improve the security of the citizens of St. Lucia. It only has short-term gain. You'll only gain something short-term because none of us here want our children to believe that whilst we were ministers, or whilst we work in the customs, or whilst we work in the police service, St. Lucia was riddled with crime and our citizens were not secure. So I want to tell the public of St. Lucia, do not get diverted. Do not lose focus. Let us continue to support the police. Let us continue to be good citizens. Let us continue to give the information that we have so that we all can feel safer in St. Lucia. This morning, what's happening is significant. We are dealing with law enforcement, with enforcement, and we're also dealing with social support. The check from Taiwan for the distress fund is to give social support to people who need it. And the equipment is to be able to enforce the laws of this country. So it's a dual purpose. We're not only interested in enforcement only. We're interested in social support. We're interested in helping people to graduate out of poverty, as the Minister of Equity will tell you. And we're also interested in the health of the people of St. Lucia. And this is why the government is pursuing universal health care with alacrity, trying to see if we could get the people of St. Lucia their health taken care of. So our policies are multifaceted. Enforcement, vehicles to the police, equipment, support in intelligence, trying to see if we can rid the police service and the customs service of any level of corruption. But at the same time, we are helping people. At the same time, we are augmenting our support to the people of St. Lucia, to the people who are less fortunate. So it's a dual thing, not only from one side. We're doing it together. So next week, we will be going to Parliament to pass, in fact, on the 11th of July, the Health and Security Levy. We have to, the date that we stated in the budget would have been the 1st of July. But because of consultation and the need to discuss with the stakeholders and people involved, we have pushed that date to the 2nd of August. So the Health and Security Levy will be implemented from the 2nd of August. I want to reiterate and say one more time that there are no increased taxes on food products or medical products. The Health and Security Levy will be on the same goods for which we have the value-added tax. There's going to be no addition to these goods, and there will be no taxes on food and medical supplies. I want to say it again. There will be no levy on food or medical supplies. For the last time, there will be no levy on food or medical supplies. There will be no levy. And secondly, what's also important is we are going to ensure that the government puts adequate measures in place because we want the public of St. Lucia to enjoy the benefits of the reduction or the removal of VAT on building materials. From the 2nd of August, the building materials that we listed in the budget, there's going to be no VAT on these building materials. And we expect the public to benefit from it. There is no levy, and there is a reduction of VAT on building materials that we listed in the budget. So we expect a reduction in the price of these goods, unless it can be proven to us that the imported price was more than the 12.5%, which we'd have deducted because of the value-added tax. So I want to make it very clear. The government has taken a balanced approach. The same way today, we deal with enforcement and we're also dealing with the distress fund with assisting our citizens. Similar with our economic policies. We have eliminated all the penalties and fines on the value-added tax that was collected on behalf of the government but not paid to by the government. And I want to tell you again, because in this business of misquoting and innuendo, I want to make it pellucidly clear. And I want you to listen carefully to the approach that the government has taken as far as these issues are concerned. We have said that even if VAT was collected on behalf of the government, VAT, the value-added tax, is collected on behalf of the government from the consumer. The consumer buys something in the store and he pays VAT. The merchant collects the VAT and that VAT is given back to the government after calculations are made. That ought to happen on a particular date. We are saying that the people who collected the VAT and did not give it back to the government, there ought to be penalties and fines and interest on that payment. Because you collected it from the government, you ought to give it back to the government. For the people who did not do that, the government is saying, we are going to waive all these penalties and all these fines and all these interests. Value of over $100 million. We're going to give you the exact figures when the time comes. We are saying we're going to waive all that, but just pay the government what you collected from the people of St. Lucia. That's all we're saying. You pay us what you collected. So that has nothing to do with levy, that's nothing to do with anything else, that's nothing to do with VAT. All it says is that you collected money for the people of St. Lucia, you give them back the money minus the penalties and the interest that you should have paid because you did not meet your obligations. That is the dual approach which this government is taking. So we're saying we're going to help the consumer by removing the VAT on bill of materials, on some bill of materials, selected bill of materials. We're saying to the merchants that the consumer is getting a break. We're also giving you a break. We are saying to you that you owed the government, you owed us. Because that money was taken, VAT was deducted was added to the cost of the goods, and it ought to be given back to the government. It wasn't given. So we're saying to you, all the penalties, all the fines, forget it and pay us what you collected. So I see this is very clear. I think it is almost a situation where the government is saying, we are in this together. We're in this together, the consumer, the business person, we are in this together. But let me say that the government is looking at the laws as they relate to payments of VAT, income tax, etc. Particularly when the money has been deducted, has been taken either from the employee or has been taken either from the purchaser. The government is looking into these laws because it cannot be fair. It cannot be fair that if money is taken away for a purpose, it's not given to the full purpose that it was taken. So we're giving that amnesty. We are waiving all these penalties, we are waiving all these interest charges, we're waiving all these fines, but we're saying to the business community, let's work together so you can benefit and we can benefit. This is part of the dual approach. This is part of the holistic approach of the government as far it relates to revenue and as far it relates to enforcement. So, this morning, we are doing it, we are again demonstrating that the scanners and the portable X-ray machines and the driving recorders, we hope that it can cause the public of St. Lucia to have more confidence in the work of the police. So some of it is going to be recorded, so it can't be a situation where you get news via Facebook. Hopefully, it's going to be recorded so the police can give their story. And the police also must give their story. Every day, the leadership and the men and women in the police force do good things. Every day, they do good things. But there's a level of shyness. There's a level of not wanting to come up front. There's a level of saying, if you do that, it will appear as if you have other motives. The police must tell their story. When the police do things that are good, when they do things that need to be complimented, they must tell their story. The police in St. Lucia have, with the limited resources given to them, they've done well. But there is room for improvement. There is room for more cohesion. There is room for more cooperation. And there is room for more focus. You must also realize that the training vote for the police had been zeroed. This government will get involved in training for police officers. We're going to get involved in improving their intelligence. We're going to start to use more of the technology to detect crime. But the old-fashioned policing must continue. The old-fashioned policing of presence. The old-fashioned policing of using your eyes to cook your peas. The old-fashioned policing of using human intelligence. That must continue. We can't depend 100% on the technology. The technology is important. And as I can tell you, from my own political life, one day I was doing a house campaign at a lady's home, and she swore to me, I'll vote for you. I love you so much. You're doing so much for the community. As soon as I went outside, a little child said to me, Mr. Pierre, my mother voting for you. And that's why human intelligence is important. So if I had only listened to what the people came to me from the survey and they tick off, yes, vote, tick, and hadn't used the human intelligence or the human touch, I'd have been living in a fool's paradise. Because I would have said that this house belongs to me, and then when the day comes, like many others who lost, they'll be surprised. That is the need for human intelligence. So the police have to use human intelligence. Policemen have to put their feet on the pavement and walk it. They have to gain the confidence of the members of the public. They have to. All the technology will work. All the training is good. But the human intelligence, the commitment to go on the streets and gain the confidence of the people must be something that the police must push in their quest for securing the citizens of this country. The Customs Department, and I've said to the Comptroller, the Customs, we have to be firm, but we can't appear to be fighting the citizens of the country. We can't appear to be at war with the citizens. We can't appear to be at war with people who come over to St. Lucia to see their relatives and see their friends. We can't appear to be at war with them. We can't appear to be saying to them, we are at war with you and we coming to fight you. Again, there is need for intelligence and there is need for profiling, etc. Because when somebody is coming over to St. Lucia for holiday with a suitcase, I mean, what can be in there that can create so many issues for you? So you have to be customer, and I hope that during this period we can have some more customer training for customs officer to have a little more, to have a little. His presence must not be seen as fighting the citizens of the country. It mustn't be the first set of, as soon as you reach, a customs officer pounds on you as if you are, as soon as they see you, you breaking the law. We must ensure we enforce the law, but our customer, the way we treat our customers, we must try our best to refine it. So we have to have some training in this regard. But also, we must also ensure that we collect what is due to the government. You have to give Caesar what is due to Caesar. You have to collect what is due to the government. And also, if there is any hint of corruption or bad behavior or trying to assist people to break the law, we expect the customs to be firm. We expect the customs to have no favor. The law ought to be an equal opportunity law. There ought to be no favor if it's perceived. And the customs must be beyond. They must not be in a situation where people can cast doubt or aspersions on the integrity of customs officers or police officers. We must cut it off. We must cut off the fact that there can be aspersions that there is bad behavior in the customs or in the police force. The government will support equity, the government will support fairness, the government will support integrity. All the cabinet ministers have been advised to observe these laws of equity, fairness, and integrity as far as these things are concerned. So this morning, we are doing two things: enforcement and support. I want to thank the government of Taiwan. I'm sure the ambassador will not be inviting me to Taiwan very soon, because I can assure him that when it comes to trying to improve the quality of life of the people of St. Lucia, during my time, I will try my best to push it. All we ask from you, all we ask from the members of the police force and the members of customs is do your job. That's all we ask from you. Just do your job, do the best of your ability, and the rest will follow. Thank you very much.